All right, adventurers, welcome to the Dangers and Dragons podcast. We're back with another weekly show here for you. We've got a really cool story today, like one of those epic quests, filled with crazy tales and legendary adventures, the kind that throw you for a loop with unexpected twists and characters, and all told in this really fun and masterful way. Like, it's the kind of storytelling that'll just keep you glued to your seat.
Today we're taking you to a kingdom cloaked in silence, a place where a strange curse has settled and stifled all sound. The story we're calling The Voiceless Queen.
You'd think in a kingdom hit by a voice-stealing curse that it'd be someone who can't speak who'd stick out. But here's the thing, and this is what really grabs you. The truly unique person in the story is the one who has always been silent. And get this, she's actually the key to breaking this whole voiceless plight.
The way the curse hits is really striking. There's no warning, it just happens. Picture the king, maybe in mid-sentence, and suddenly his voice just vanishes. Not like a whisper fading out, but literally turning into the shimmering pearl that just drops from his lips.
It's wild, right? Something so essential, so intangible, suddenly becoming this solid object that represents its own loss.
It's kind of a gut punch, isn't it? And you can just feel this wave of desperation right after. The court, his loyal subjects, even everyday people, they all start making these frantic trades, their own voices, each one turning into another shimmering pearl offered up in this desperate and ultimately futile attempt to get the king's voice back. Just think about that for a minute. What would it take for you to give up your ability to speak? That act of sacrifice, it seems like pure devotion at first, right?
Yeah.
But it raises some interesting questions. Is it really just that? Or is there some element of fear mixed in, maybe even societal pressure? And taking a step back, you see how all these individual actions, even though they're meant to heal, actually make the problem worse.
Yeah.
It reminds you of how even good intentions can backfire sometimes, like in real life, how things don't always go as planned.
And the whole kingdom changes. It's not just quiet, it's like this living, breathing silence. You can practically picture it, colorful tapestries taking the place of conversation, flickering candlelight replacing shouted orders, and the real terror. It's not some mythical beast or monster, it's that urge to speak, that instinct that's now forbidden. What do you think that would do to a society? Could you imagine living like that?
That level of silencing forces a complete overhaul of daily life. How do people make decisions? How do they express their emotions? What happens to relationships when that basic form of interaction is gone? Really makes you realize how much we depend on spoken language without even thinking about it. Like, could you imagine going a whole day without speaking?
And this is where our protagonist comes in. This girl who has always lived without speaking suddenly has this strange kind of power. Her silence, it becomes this unexpected advantage, making her the only one who can translate for a whole kingdom of silenced people. It's almost like her whole world is flipped on its head overnight, wouldn't you say?
Totally. It's a pretty huge power shift.
Yeah.
But that unique position comes with a huge burden, too. Every gesture she translates, every unspoken need she has to figure out, it carries the weight of the entire kingdom's hopes and frustrations. It's not just passing along words, it's being the only voice in a completely voiceless world. Think about that pressure on one person.
You can really feel the toll it takes on her, too. The story really hints at that. Every gesture, every sigh, it's like she's giving a piece of herself away, trying to bridge this communication gap. And remember, she's already lived in a world where her voice wasn't really heard the way other people's voices were. So this is even more intense for her.
And you know what's interesting? Where does she find peace in this world of silence? Not in the marketplace, not in the royal court, but in the library. Surrounded by the quiet of written words, not the lost echoes of spoken stories. It's like she found her own space, right?
Yeah, let's really think about that for a second. It's not just finding some peace and quiet. In those books, in those stories written by who knows who, in the knowledge written down, she finds a different way to connect to voices. It's a world of stories that still exist, a world of understanding, even without any sound. Why do you think she's drawn to that?
I think it's kind of an act of rebellion, almost. The curse has silenced the spoken word, but the written word remains untouched. By diving into those books, she's not just escaping the silence, she's actively engaging with a form of communication that the curse hasn't been able to take away. It's like this reminder that even when one way of expressing ourselves is taken away, the need to connect and tell stories always finds a way.
And as the story continues, those stolen voices, those shimmering pearls, they started as these noble sacrifices, right? A last-ditch effort to save the king.
But the story reveals this dark truth, doesn't it? Those pearls, those symbols of devotion, they turn out to be something a lot more sinister. They become shackles, literally, Each voice willingly given strengthens the hold the curse has over the kingdom, makes you think twice about sacrifice and whether good intentions always lead to good outcomes.
And then there's this huge turning point. Our protagonist, who's been carrying the weight of interpreting for everyone, finally relays a single powerful word to the king. Abdicate. Just one word, piercing through all that silence. What kind of reaction do you think that got?
You can practically feel the tension in the court. Shock, maybe some outrage, but also, and this is key, a glimmer of hope, like a realization that sometimes the most direct, even bold solution is the one that breaks through. And coming from someone who is essentially unheard, that one word carries even more power.
And then comes this incredibly symbolic act, the destruction of the crown, the very symbol of the kingdom's power, the thing the curse seems to have latched onto.
It's really powerful imagery, isn't it? The protagonist's father taking a hammer to this crown of gold and jewels. It's like they're dismantling the old ways, rejecting the source of their suffering. What do you think that act of destruction says about power and how to challenge it?
And as that hammer rings out in the silence, something incredible happens. All those trapped voices stuck inside the shimmering pearls, they're released in this huge, overwhelming roar. Can you imagine that sound after all that silence?
It's like this mass liberation, everyone breaking free from that forced quiet. Thinking deeper, it suggests that true power doesn't come from one ruler or a fancy crown. It comes from the voices and actions of the people. That pent-up energy finally released. It's a powerful reminder of that.
And what happens to our protagonist now that the voices are back? Does she become the queen, the one who can finally speak for them all? What happens to her in this noisy new world?
What's really insightful is that her power doesn't come from a crown or some royal title. She continues to be the silent translator. Her strength lies in the understanding she's developed, the power of those unspoken connections, and the magic of the stories that now fill the one silent kingdom. It shows that influence can take many forms. It doesn't have to be loud to be powerful.
So as you listen to this tale of the voiceless queen, think about what it really means to have a voice. And what about the strength that can be found in silence, especially when those around you can't speak? How could your own ways of communicating, whatever they are, become your greatest strength when you least expect it?
It makes you think, right? In a world that's often so loud and chaotic, what's the real value in listening? Not just to the spoken word, but to those unspoken needs and stories all around us. What can we learn from the silences?
And don't forget to rate and follow the Dangers and Dragons podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Your support means a lot and helps us keep bringing you these fantastic stories and the ideas they spark.